Now we're going to be going over how to select the right domain name for your site. This becomes important for a few reasons. Number one, it could affect how fast you rank. So certain domain names might have a faster speed to get ranked. It could also affect how easy outreach comes to you. Or again, how easy it is to flip your site later. So it's a very important decision to make. But first, let me go through a few definitions for you on the different types of domain names you can have. Now first we have EMDs, or exact match domains. The definition of this, or at least my definition of it, is it contains all of your main keywords. The benefits to EMDs is you can rank fast. And the reason is this: the topic is pretty set in stone when you pick a domain name. And if I were to decide to pick a domain like bestvitaminCserum.com, I've just decided, I set it in stone, this is what the topic of my domain is going to be about. I'm committed to it. So Google has a really easy chance to figure out what your site is about. And that's half the name of the game when you're creating your on-site SEO, is just to tell Google, hey, this is what I'm about. This shortcuts that process. The bad side for EMDs, for example, is number one, they're hard to do outreach for. People don't like to link to bestvitaminCserum.com. They're easy to penalize too. It's easy to over-optimize, for example, when it comes to anchor text and sending links to your site. In addition, they're not as easy to sell later on. Some examples of EMDs would be, like I said earlier, Best Vitamin C Serum for the vitamin C serum niche, Garcinia Cambogia reviews for this weight loss pill, how to get rid of nail fungus, so it's just a direct, exact sentence on what you would try to rank for, or where to buy Wartrol. This is like a wart relief product. Okay, let's move on to partial match domains. The definition here is it contains some of your keywords. This would be kind of like on all the points that I mentioned before, the speed to rank, the ease at which you can do outreach, and the ease at which you can flip it. It's moderate on all these fronts. So some examples of this might be vitamin C resource. So I got some of the keywords in here, but resource isn't one of the keywords that I'm going for, so that makes it a partial match domain. Garcinia guide, nail fungus pros, or Wartrol info. Again, we've mixed in some extra words in there, and it gives us a moderate effect on all those factors before. Now finally we get to branded domains. Now, my definition is it just contains none of your main keywords, but it could be related to the topic you're trying to rank for. Now the characteristics of a branded domain, at least as it applies to you in ranking and monetizing, is typically they rank slower. It's because they don't have any topic branded or built right into the domain name itself. It's much easier to do outreach because people like to link to branded domains that don't have a commercial intent automatically built into the domain name. And also they're easy and nice to flip. So some examples for the exact same niches that I used before would be skin starts with C, so it's related to vitamin C. My weight solutions, so it could be for the Garcinia Cambogia product. Toe fixers could be for a nail fungus thing. And we have warts be gone for the Wartrol review site. These are all examples of branded domains. So our choice here, between all these different types of domains, EMD, PMD, and branded, what I'm doing most of the time right now is I'm going with branded domains. Why is that? Because right now in this stage of the game with SEO, outreach and flipping are extremely important to me. Outreach is required to get a fast and consistent result, and flipping is the most of the bulk of the monetization in ranking an affiliate site. I mean, we can make passive income as we get them ranking, and they're making money every month, but you really start to accelerate your money-making process when you get into flipping. I don't see that these trends might move in a different direction for me, so I'm going to continue to go this way with branded domains. And for this test site, I've chosen skin starts with C. I'd like to talk a little bit about age domains. So instead of just registering a domain straight away from scratch and registering it for the first time, you can also buy age domains that have been around for a while. The benefit to these is they can rank really, really fast. They have the ability, because they've been on that topic for maybe years and years, and they have links going to them already, they have some sort of trust and age to them, they can just rank super fast. On the other hand, they can just not rank at all. We're not really sure what comes into this as being a consistent reason why they don't rank, but in my experience, I got about 60% of the time they work and 40% of the time they don't work. And there's a couple of trends that I've seen that show different characteristics on what makes an age domain work other than the one that doesn't work, and I'll explain those shortly. But in general, for what I recommend, beginners should avoid using age domains. Again, it's a great bonus when they do what you want them to do, but when they don't, it can be quite frustrating, especially for a beginner. But if you do want to get into age domains and you have some experience, this is what I recommend on where to get them and what to look for. So first off, I recommend going to TB Solutions. There's going to be a link for you in the resources where you can find TB Solutions. In general, these prices are a little bit more expensive than most domains, but the owner does a good job at making sure these things don't drop, which is a very important factor when you're purchasing these. So what you're going to look for is go extremely niche specific. If you want a curling iron review site, then find an old domain about hair or hair salons, and that's about as further away from the niche as you want to be. Much, much better if you found something about curling irons before, but you're not likely to find a clean domain, a clean affiliate site on curling irons. In TB Solutions, someone left it for a reason. It had a problem. Also, don't worry too much about backlinks. And while we can assume that buying an age domain that have plenty of links going to it already might help us because we built authority and link equity to the site, that actually ends up stinging you more than it helps you in my experience. Just go with a nice age domain with clean links, and most importantly, a clean and non-dropped history. You don't want this domain to have passed between multiple owners over and over again. You want there to be a pretty clean ownership history, maybe one or two owners at most, but no drop history. So there's always been a continuous stream of owner to an owner. And what you'll find when you use an age domain, this happens 100% of the time, is there's something called a repurposing sandbox. I think Charles was the first one to name this phenomenon, the repurposing sandbox, and it's a good name for it. So every time you take an old domain, you make a new site on it, it's going to enter the sandbox. What is a sandbox? The sandbox is basically some kind of, label that's put on your site by Google, and in this time period, it's a temporary time period, it just won't really rank or respond to links. It's like it's got training wheels on it and it cannot do anything. It cannot increase in rankings unless you get out of the sandbox thing. And this is just going to shed itself over time. What's happening here is the old topic of the old site used to be subject X, and now you're putting on a new topic, subject Y, and even though they might be very, very similar, it takes a while for Google to realize that the site isn't about the old content anymore, but it's about the new. So what can you do to improve the chances and make this repurposing sandbox period speed up? Number one is restore as many of the old pages as possible. So even if the old site was about hair salons and you're making it about curling irons now, obviously your homepage is going to be about curling irons, but go ahead and recreate some of the old pages that used to exist on the old domain about hair salons. And just, if you get these pages restored, there's a good chance that some of them will automatically just rank because the same content that Google liked before is there now, and that'll get some traffic going to the site and related visitors that are looking for things about hair. And also, by doing this, it makes it look like you're adding onto the site. You're not just taking over an old site, but you maybe become the new owner on the site and you're adding onto it. You're not buying an old site and doing something new. You're just simply adding on to an existing site and nothing's changing. And this will get the best effect for an age domain.